Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Salatu wassalamu alayka ya khataman nabiyyin. Fidaka abi wa ummi ya sayyidi ya Rasulallah. Respected Muslim brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Respected Muslim brothers, many Muslims sadly have uh, become skeptical of the eschatological narrative of Islam. In fact, many of them say words to the effect that we're not interested in the prophecy, the end times prophecy, and events that have been foretold by my master, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wasallam. And some of them are skeptical about these ahadith, which speak about the end times events that have been foretold. Some of them say it's not important, even if these narrations are authentic, that Muslims should not be concerned with that. They should only be concerned with the here and now, with politics, with political activity. This is a tendency that is, which I'm describing, is predominantly expressed and manifested by the political groups and those that are on the political wavelength, such as the Ikhwanis, Ikhwan al Muslimin, and others that are similar to them. However, as Orthodox Sunni Muslims, the traditional Islam, the mainstream Islam, our brand of Islam, if you want to say that, if you like, has always been very much concerned with the end times and with prophecy and with matters like the coming of the second coming of the Messiah, the Dajjal or Antichrist, the coming of Gog and Magog, and the coming of the Mahdi, the various prophecies concerning the description of the end times, the latter days. For instance, the drying up of the river Euphrates, or the drying up of the Sea of Galilee, Lake Tiberias, which, by the way, these two bodies of water, the river Euphrates, is drying up at a rapid and alarming speed. And likewise, the Sea of Galilee is at a dangerously low level. And these have all been predicted in the hadith of my master, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So those people who are skeptical of the end times prophecy, they usually say things like these are all the hadith, and they're skeptical of hadith. They want to focus more on the Quran. So today I want to speak about a prophecy that is mentioned in the Quran concerning the latter days, and that is the appearance of the beast of the earth. The Quran speaks of a dabba min al arth, a beast from the earth that will come. And what is strange about this beast is that he speaks to the people. He has the attribute of kalam, of being a mutakallim, somebody that speaks to the people. And Allah has described his appearance as a means of punishment for the people because of their rejection of him. So, what is this beast? Although the word dabba would apply to an animal, but Allah Azza wa He says in the Quran about the sharud dawab, that the disbelievers, the unbelievers are described as sharud dawab, the worst of animals, which is a basis for applying the word animal to certain human beings, that certain human beings may be described as an animal despite being apparently human, homo sapien. Now, the beast of the earth that's mentioned in the Quran is very significant because first of all, there is mention of him in the Bible, specifically in the book of Revelation. That's the final book of the Bible in the New Testament. There is the book of Revelation, and it speaks of a beast, and that this beast is basically a human king or ruler who will be very evil, and he will have with him a false prophet that will call the people to worship him. So here in Islam, we have mention of this beast. As for the false prophet, we have something called, in our prophecies, there is a figure known as the Masih ad-Dajjal, the false Messiah, the Antichrist, or the Messiah of misguidance, the Dajjal. And this Dajjal is universally recognized as corresponding to what the Bible refers to as the Antichrist or the false prophet. So, what's interesting is that the Quran does not speak about the Dajjal explicitly, does not mention this name or this term Dajjal, but it does occur in the Hadith. But the Quran speaks of the beast, and very interestingly, the beast is not mentioned in as much detail and as much description as the Dajjal. So of course the Quran is more important than the Hadith in terms of the tartib. The Quran comes first, then the Sunnah and the Hadith. So the Quran is speaking about the beast and does not mention the Dajjal. The Hadith mentioning the Dajjal, they reach the level of mutawatir in the term in sense of meaning, is mass narrated that this Dajjal is going to appear in the latter days, and he is described as a false prophet in the Hadith. And there's physical description of him. There's other mentions of what he's going to do and some of the things from his affair. So it makes sense to me that the beast is in fact um, a greater thing than the Dajjal in terms of his evil, in terms of his significance. He's actually more significant than the Dajjal. Even though today in Islamic discourse, you don't see as much emphasis on warning about the beast and talking about the beast as compared to the Dajjal. And this could be because the hadith has focused on the Dajjal because of him being a tribulation in the religious sense, whereas the beast is a ruler, a sort of king, and his tribulation is more in the political. But the false prophet, the Antichrist, the Dajjal, he calls the people to worship the beast. And there is some connection between this beast and the Dajjal. That's the least we can say. Respected viewers and listeners, the Muslims today should be focused on studying the end times prophecy, should study eschatology, should be aware of these matters, because these are not theoretical or immaterial. These are things that are happening now. These are things that are affecting your and my life and the life of the ummah. The geopolitical events, they're churning in such a way as to set the stage for the coming of this beast and the coming of his Dajjal, his false prophet. So, respected viewers and listeners, I hope that you will change your mind and your heart and to focus also on this dimension of Islam, very critical dimension of Islam. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.